Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So we had a pretty crazy weekend on eBay. I'm about to go into what we are shipping out today on Monday. So yeah, it was a ton of stuff. Pretty good weekend. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Kind of shorter on time. I woke up earlier to have more time to ship this stuff. So the first thing right here, a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Descent Journeys in the Dark Second Edition. I actually love this game. I've been playing it recently. This is not the complete game. The box is actually empty, but then inside, let me see if I can show you guys. It has like one of these inserts. One second. The boxes, I want to make sure that the corners don't get wrecked while I'm like holding them with one hand. So it has these inserts for all the cards and miniatures. These things normally cost extra. They're like third-party companies that design these things where you can then take out the cards as trays. Sometimes these things are pretty expensive. I'm not a personal fan of these. I kind of make up my own containers and storage solutions myself. It's a budget option, and then I get to customize it the way I want. But I do know people appreciate companies doing these types of inserts. So when I get them, I end up like upcharging a little bit. So this box ended up going for $24.95 plus shipping. Everything's gonna be plus shipping. Most of the price in that is probably going to be the actual insert, which I know it sounds weird. All right, moving along, we have four Choose Your Own Adventure books right here. I think these are like Duck Dynasty Choose Your Own Adventure books. Never really watched Duck Dynasty, but these are going to be books 1 through 4. Got a bunch of Choose Your Own Adventure books. They've been doing pretty well. A lot of books that I haven't seen before. I picked up a little bit more recently, but yeah, this ended up going for $11.19. So not too crazy. It wasn't like a super fancy one. When you have these like crossovers of different things, like a TV show with books, sometimes it does well and sometimes it doesn't. But that's still pretty good for that. So I'm okay with that. I got them really cheap, so someone's gonna appreciate them. Go through them. They probably have some like humor in them as well. I can tell there's like cartoon art on in the front and stuff like that. All right, next up, this customer actually made me scared when I read their message. I normally like don't get a lot of feelings when people message stuff, so I'll get into the story. So gem blenders, hive swarms, some kind of card game. I got like I think 2 to 4 of these decks at some point. This is the last one right here. It's like a bee girl, and yeah, it's a full-fledged starter deck to play this game. But I was talking with this person. They were going to be an international buyer. I think they're from the UK. They were telling me the shipping was going to be too expensive, so they wanted to combo it with other gem blender stuff. This card game, I looked through my stuff. I did not have more, so I said like I'll keep an eye out more on auctions for more. But like that's random if I'm actually ever going to see this thing again. So they ended up saying that they were still going to buy it, and then they were going to like save up a week of their money to be able to pay for the higher shipping and stuff. And then somewhere between the nights, Aneta will send out offers because people who are watching things, and sometimes people have clicked on it or who are interested in certain items will get offers. Everyone's been sent notifications like that. So she sent a mass offer to everyone. It doesn't show us who's getting the offers out of nowhere because like we had good rapport talking. This person, they responded. They go, are you kidding me with your offer price? And I read that with that kind of like angry tone. So I was like, I was sitting there on the computer, like playing a Diablo 2 at the time on the PC. So I saw the message. I'm like, oh gosh, like was it insulting or something? So I asked them, I'm like, was the offer insulting? And then they ended up saying no, that it was like a really good price, and they would have paid for it already if they knew that that was her price. They want to make sure that our offer wasn't an accident. And so I asked Annette, I didn't think it was an accident, but I let her know. I was like, oh, hey, Annette, someone thinks your offer was an accident. She's like, no, tell them that to pay and we're good to go tomorrow. So they were super excited. They paid right away, $16.79. But yeah, when I read that message of like, are you serious? I actually got a little afraid. I've never really had anyone angry when we were having good talks beforehand, about the particular item. I have had it where you send an offer, sorry, someone sends an offer, you send a counter offer, they send an offer, you go back and forth, and eventually their last offer is like $1, and they're like, oh, you suck. That makes more sense. That's more where I will see that type of message of, are you kidding me, and stuff like that, but not with good rapport. All right, I'm gonna move along. I have a lot to get through. We did a combo order. This is going to be 4 of these binders from Legend of the Five Rings. So one of these are going to be the different clan rivals. So this is like Dragon versus Phoenix. These are just the different clans within the card game. They also have a role-playing game and a miniature game. This is Crane versus Lion. There's like an emperor in this land, and then there's a bunch of these clans surrounding the emperor, and they have to like appease him and stuff like that. And then there's lore, drama, stories, strife, battle. Ratlings versus the Shadowlands. I like the Ratlings the best. I like rats just in general as like an animal. And then we have a Scorpion versus Unicorn. these aren't actual animals. These are just like the things that they identify. There's also like shadow magic and stuff like that. There's a lot in this realm. So they got the binders, which are pretty cool binders for trading cards. And then this is kind of something you hope for, is like people combine kind of like stuff that they like together. They ended up actually doing the due diligence of like looking and saw that I had these black binder pages. These are actually loading from top to bottom. There's also some that are side loaders. For those people who are into card games as much, would think of these pages as the clear ones. A lot of people in the modern days, Pokemon World, Magic the Gathering world, for the past 15 years or so, they like these, like, they almost don't even like the 3 rings and stuff because those can get like messy. They kind of like these pages built into binders. But yeah, the black pages are kind of like, I would say, the more modern version. Obviously people are still going to use the clear sleeves, and there's still plenty of people with that, but there is a new school way of thinking. So this whole lot right here sold for $60. It's kind of hard for online to get people to buy like stuff. There was someone, you just kind of hope that they see that you offer pages and binders. There were some that bought miniatures from us, but then they also saw that we had some cheap Chessex miniature cases, and they bought them along with the cases, and they're like, can you put them in the foam and stuff? So it's cool when customers realize that we have a lot of stuff, but that's not something easily that we can portray even in details and descriptions. It's really hard to kind of like put it on eBay to be like, you should think about getting our sleeve pocket pages with this. It kind of becomes like a little bit too much. So I'll answer questions when people have them, like if we have more gem blenders. I did not, but I do like these combo orders. Really rambly today, even though I guess I'm not too short on time, but we're going to be just in time. Next up, super good sale. Got a bunch of these Dollhouse miniatures. The lady did not want them anymore. She said that they were pretty good. Most people, like, they kind of just, put generic values to stuff that they own. I didn't actually know if they like looked this up or knew what the value is. Sometimes people think something's valuable because they spent a lot on it, and then it's not secondhand because it might be too common. Everyone knows like how that goes. So I still took them. They were free, and they end up being these like metal ones. They end up being really, really good. So these are going to be little hat sticks, and then you put these little hats on. These are metal. They're Dollhouse miniature things. They are good quality, like really well painted, well made. So 3 different hat stands with different types of hats. I looked up like the names of the hats and stuff like that. So these are like ladies' hats, kind of like sun hats and stuff. They'll have different bows and flowers and stuff. These 3 little miniatures end up selling for $72. So yeah, later on when I got home, and when I did get eventually after like 6 months get to this Dollhouse miniature stuff, I was kind of like, oh duh, like a bunch of dudes like the like military stuff, miniatures. There's gonna be someone that likes types of miniatures all over the place, and there are like dollhouses, like collections and villages that people make, and it doesn't have to just be ladies or whatever, but yeah, like ladies can also collect the wargaming miniatures and stuff. But there's just anything that's miniature people like. So there's also, I haven't really gotten it, but people like, I think it's more millennials, like there's like little foods and these little like grab bag things. I think they're more from like Asia and stuff like that. So that like there's also a whole realm of that type of miniatures of like little foods and other things. So there's a lot to dig into when it goes to miniatures, but $72 for that for free 99 was pretty good. They were going to toss it out anyways. Like I said, we like to salvage stuff from trash, and it was like a little box. I'm like, yeah, I can go through it, something new. So, all right, next up is going to be Aeon's End. This is just the base game box. This is empty. I guess there was a die in there. I left like a red D6. I don't think there's a die in this game. This is an interesting one because this is a deck builder. A lot of people love this game. Well, the person who bought it said that their house had a flood, which is unfortunate. It kind of happens to lots of these people's board games collections. They keep them kind of like in basements and stuff, and if a flood happens, they lose a lot of their collection. Yeah, I've known too many people that's happened to. So if we ever get a place with a basement, I'm not putting our board games down there. Or if they are going to go down there, they're going to go in like some kind of tubs or something, because like I just hear this story often. I kind of feel sad. Like, cool, I get to sell like a box for someone to replace it. They said their pieces inside were fine, but it's just like sad thinking about it. But a lot of people like this game, deck builder game. It's a co-op. It's kind of like futuristic against like, you'll have like a space planet thing to protect. We played the legacy version of the game, not this game. We were told and recommended either on websites or through other people that if we liked deck builders and Clank and all that sorts of stuff, Star Realms, DC deck building game and stuff, that we would like this. We did not like this one. We actually thought it was pretty bad, which is fighting words for the board game community because they love this game. So I know people like it. I don't like the card quality. Our problem with the game was there's a little mechanic in the game where you shuffle 4 player cards and 4 of the monster cards. I forget what they're called. It's not Overlord, but like you shuffle it, and then when you flip over a card, it's that person's turn. we felt really awful when the monsters got to take multiple turns in a row, and it's designed that way, so we just didn't like it. So that was kind of like what did it in for us. But yeah, this ended up selling for $6.50. That's just the base game. All right, next up is going to be Incomplete Transformers G1 Ratchet Ambulance toy right here. Completely, it's like half of it's missing. Got a bunch of these for free from my brother. He already went through like the main collection. These had been sitting in his room for, I think he's had a year or two. I was really thankful he gave them to me. This sold for $17.50. I listed all of it, so I think he was impressed that I listed them relatively quickly. It took 2 days. He gave me more than I thought was in the bag, so I did go through it. But yeah, I think I'm at like from the stuff he gave me. I probably obviously there's gonna be fees and stuff, and time and shipping supplies. But I think we're at like 250 or so. I'm just taking a guess. I didn't actually like keep track of it, but I could if I want. But thank you to him. He watches all the time. All right, next up is going to be a combo order. Legend of the Five Rings. I don't know if something happened with Legend of the Five Rings. This is a different person. These are Ivory starter decks. That's just like Ivory edition. I don't know too much about the card game. There's so many of the sets, and like they're really hard to decipher. It kind of stumps me at times. So I do my best with Legend of the Five Rings. This is the Crane faction. So this is a full-fledged deck. They would come in these tins. Super cool. There's like a lot of cards in this too. And then this is the Lion faction right there. They spent $55.99 each, so that's $100. Wait, $110. No, $111.98. I think. All right, we're gonna move on. My brain's melting. Above $100. That was a pretty good order. So yeah, I got a bunch of Legend of the Five Rings. So it's one of my favorite things I won at auction. I think I won the whole lot of all this special stuff for like $22. I was super stoked when I won the auction. It had stuff from like decks to booster boxes to just it was like kind of one of my more lucky auctions. I think Legend of the Five Rings because it's a slower seller and because it's not really a thing I think that they make any current stuff for that I'm aware of. All the way from the RPG to the card games to the miniature games stuff, board games. So I think people just are not thinking about it, but I know people love the world. All right, next up is going to be a map only for Root, the board game. Also, weird opinion. I did not like this board game at all. Root is a very, very popular board game. Like, I'm aware that people like it. I do like the art, but yeah, you're going to be playing on a board. It's usually a forest. This, I believe, is the winter map. I believe there's two sides. It's a little bit of changes, I believe, from one map to the next. Or it might just be aesthetically by how it looks. But yeah, this sold for $19.99. You pick a critter faction. You have different rules than everyone else, and you're fighting for victory points. So like the birds are going to want to follow their like pecking order. The cats want to kind of build out their whole village. There you have a little bandit. Oh, I forget the name of it. Like the raccoon that has to go around and collect and trade people and collect and build up their gear. Not Vanguard, not Bandit. It's one of those words. All right. And then there's also the Woodland Alliance, and then there's also a bunch of expansions you can purchase for the game to play different factions. Just didn't like the game because I think it's a hard teach because each of the factions has different rules, and it's really dealing with that. I'm always the teacher for board games, so I just think for teaching it, it just kind of drains my energy just teaching 4 different rule sets, and then there's a lot of like intricate rules and yeah, it just wasn't my favorite. It's technically like it's kind of like a risk game. Territory control is kind of like when you bring it down to its root rules, base rules is kind of what it is. And generally, I like to play games that are co-op or slightly less competitive because people take stuff too serious sometimes. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 34 plastic miniatures. These are 3/4 inch, so maybe like 1 out of 72 scale. I'm not too sure. These are Confederate soldiers. I only knew that because 2 of them actually have like a colored flag. The rest just kind of look more generic miniatures. These aren't any particular brand I know. So yeah, I just kind of put that they were plastic Confederate soldier miniatures, 3/4 inch, sold for $20. Pretty good for that. All right, next up is going to be War Machine Hordes, Scorn Supreme, Arch Domina. So this is going to be like a Warcaster for War Machine. That's the steampunk game. This one was pretty well painted. I will increase my price and stuff when they have like decent paintings. And I know a lot of people like painted miniatures, kind of are afraid to dip into it, or they think that they'll look really bad. So they never really give it a try. It took me a long time to get into painting miniatures. I can now do an okay thing, like an okay job at them. I'm not an expert, but I know how to like make them look good, better than a gray miniature on a board. Like I think it's called tabletop ready is what I can do. So there's also a couple miniatures where I put a lot of time into. that I really liked, some Kingdom Death ones. But yeah, this particular Warcaster sold for $15.35. I randomly put a note for this particular auction. I spent $2 on that one. It must have been from a collection that I divided the price between them all. All right, next up is going to be a lot of information about a lot of the stuff I'm selling today. Ultimate Guard. This is going to be a 40 card deck box for standard size. This is their Boulder series. This is their Onyx color. So this is just like a weird deck box where I know it was super popular. Their Boulders, the 100 counts were kind of more popular. This was, I think, by Ultimate Guard, which is now GameGenic. They now have like a color branding company from Germany, I believe, still from Germany, I believe. They are always innovating on themselves, but these things were known to just like be really sturdy. You could stand on them. I'm not going to stand on someone's product. I have stood on these before when I've owned them. They don't break. Like that's why they're called the Boulders. But then they stopped making them at some point, and people still want them. They're slightly see-through, so if you have like a Magic Commander in front, you can kind of see through it. It's not like completely translucent, but enough where you can like see what your deck is. This little one, probably not as popular for the smaller size, sold for $7.99. I just happen to know a bunch about that brand. People love that. The GameGenic, and then the Game Science is an old dice company. We're not going to get into that. I don't even think they're around anymore. All right, next up is going to be some Android Netrunner. These are 3 alternate art promo cards. The Imp right here. This is like a program for the runners. It's a runner versus a corporation, and then you each have a runner deck and a corporation deck. You're looking for agenda points, and then you play, a best of 2, or you add up whoever gets the most points. The programs here are used to break through the corporation's ice, which is like their little defenses into their grid. But yeah, the 3 little promos sold for $23.97. 3 is a play set in this game, not 4 like other games. But yeah, Netrunner was technically my favorite game I've ever played. I didn't play it too long. I played for a year. I played a bunch of Magic and a bunch of other card games. Netrunner is just like such a special game. If you've never played it, and if I don't know if the core sets are cheap and stuff, but it's such a blast with like a friend or something. It takes a little bit to get into. All the mechanics and rules are kind of different than every other card game. But it was also designed, the original stuff, by Richard Garfield, who's known for making Magic the Gathering. I think this is like better than Magic, but all right. There's still fans that like make stuff for this game now, and they like have been keeping the game alive. It's crazy. All right, next up is going to be a combo order for Blood Bowl Team Manager. It's kind of like this board game, card game. Where did I put this stuff? I'm looking like all crazy here. I would say I was on a pretty good run at first. So where are they? I don't know. I know I have. Oh, is it right here? There's one. Oh yeah, they're right in front of me. That's seriously my problem. All right, I swear, guys, I'm doing okay. eBay International. So it's just a bunch of cards and tokens from this game. So it's not the complete game. They also wanted the instruction booklet. I told them I didn't have it. I'm not too sure. Like, I've never played this game. I know Warhammer has a bunch of board games, card games, and side accessories. So I know people like Blood Bowl, just like the generic miniature game. But yeah, I'm not too sure like how complete this is or whatever. Sorry, I put incompletes for these and took pictures of everything. $55.98 for the combo order. Really good chunky orders. All right, next up is going to be this Rio Grande Games Caveman: The Quest for Fire. This one I actually played, I want to say, I remember it was in like 2015, 2016. It was way better than I thought. It kind of has like not my art style. It's like a caveman here with like a light bulb, kind of like a lot of browns and like that kind of color palette. So I'm red-green colorblind, so like browns and stuff next to each other kind of look similar. But yeah, this game ended up being really good. Even though I played it once, a couple times with someone, I don't fully remember the rules, but I remember it just being a good, solid game. And then Rio Grande game makes a lot of solid board games, so good company. This ended up going for $12.96. This is only 90% complete. I forgot what it was missing, but I think it was missing some like tokens. Usually with board games, if you're missing tokens, you can just replace them with stuff. Or like, we'll play a lot of games that will have coins as tokens, or like think Monopoly with money, and then you don't technically like need every token, coin, piece. Not all, they just give you extra just in case if you have a crazy game, easily replaceable with like pennies nearby. All right, next up is going to be 2 World War II micro armor bits and pieces. It was like a bunch of these holes, so the bottoms of a tank. And then we also got a bunch of the turrets. They probably matched them up. I didn't have these labeled, so yeah, these 2 right, not that one. That's a different miniature sale. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it is this one. I was just being dumb, reading my letters wrong. So yeah, this ended up going to someone who keeps purchasing from us. This ended up going for $36. So that's awesome that they keep coming back for more. I have a bunch of that stuff listed. I listed a lot of it. So I don't know if I did a video about setting it all on the table. All right, next up is going to be some like North Star is the company. They're going to be like these Stargrave like inventory, yeah, Stargrave crew right here. They're just like bits and pieces on the sprues here. They're like 80% complete each of the sprues. So you still have heads, bodies, arms. This actually might be good to make some of the figures. And just someone made a couple of them on each sprue. I took a lower offer on this for $9. I was being a little bit more charitable with offers just to see what would happen this weekend, and it did pay off. Next up is going to be this Woodland Scenics model graphics dry transfer decals. You just kind of like peel them off and then you can like I think scratch them onto things. I technically don't know how these transfer sheets work. I should just test some that I get a bunch of these little sheets. They're not too expensive from like bulk buys, and I should just try some on some of my miniatures so I can talk about it better. But yeah, this ended up going for $5. This is gonna be for all types of like model kits and stuff, probably train stuff, regular miniatures, whatever they want to put like the little letters on. That's a set of letters. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. All right. Next up is a lot of 55 Spellfire cards by TSR Spellfire. All right. Got a bunch of these at auction, really cheap, also like $10 or $20. The same day I got the Legend of the Five Rings. People just weren't caring about these dead card games, so I was super excited. Oh yeah, I made a bunch of lots of these. I think these are commons and uncommons. This sold for $20. I still have a bunch of those listed, so I was getting excited. They have really good art for those. I forgot. I know it's a game. I forget like how it kind of plays, but oh boy, the art's really awesome because it kind of like a lot of the card is arts right here, and only a little bit is text. There's a lot of card games that like the best part about a lot of card games is the art, but then they usually end up shrinking the art down to like a couple inches in the middle, and then kind of gets ruined by like borders and text. That's why a lot of people like full art cards and stuff like that. Next up is going to be a lot of bad primed Star Wars Legion Stormtroopers unit. Star Wars Legion is going to be the Star Wars miniature game. I think there's another company that now owns the rights to it. I remember someone messaging me saying that these weren't like worthwhile anymore. You guys know I get that message about stuff all the time. I ignore it. I sold a set of these. These ended up going for $12. Bad primed because someone primed it with I think the wrong type of primer because it's a little bit sticky. I'm not talking about like gummy bear nasty sticky. It's like you touch and you're like, okay, someone used the wrong paint, which is possible. They got the wrong kind of paint. They just went to like a Home Depot or something, just sprayed it, and then they probably didn't do it properly or like look up which are the proper ones to put in plastic and stuff like that. I'm not an expert on that, but I do my proper due diligence research. I have a bunch of primer in the other room. It's all good primer. $12 for that. Next up, I actually sold Beanie Babies. I don't have too many listed. A set of 3. I think I got this bag at like Savers for 50 cents. There was I was picking up some food for Anetta, some like Asian food. Next door was a Savers. They were late on making my order. No big deal. Told me 20 minutes. Went into Savers, got a couple things. I'm like, you know what? My idea is to, spend like a couple dollars. So when I sell this stuff, I paid for Anetta's food while I was waiting. Kind of like a cool concept. It did work out. There was also some Legos I found and I got lucky. And then I ended up grabbing this bag for like 50 cents or a quarter. It was really cheap. But yeah, I sold these for $10. So yeah, Anetta's food was on me for waiting, I guess. But yeah, super cool. Like, my mom actually was the one that introduced me to eBay. She was like day oneer for eBay. She would sell Beanie Babies. She would sell Pokemon cards, Super Nintendo games. So like it's just a weird thing for me selling that now because like knowing that my mom was doing sold Beanie Babies on eBay literally when they were like the crazy craze, and here I am almost like 25 plus years, yeah, 30 years later selling Beanie Baby. It's just weird to think about. All right, next up, and kind of cool, fascinating, honestly, to think about it. Next up is, oh yeah, she doesn't want to do an interview. She's too afraid to do an interview, but people should post down below in the comments if you want me to do an interview with her. She has a lot of cool stories too. Like I did one with my dad, and a lot of people liked it, but I think she's just too afraid to be in camera. Maybe I can have her off camera and do the interview or something. But yeah, let her know down below. She will watch videos. She does ask me how the channel's going, what people are saying. So well, yeah, let her know down below if you guys want me to do an interview with her. I think it'd be fun to talk about. All right. Next up is going to be this Matchbox plane. This is a 228. I think that's what it says right there. I'm not a plane person, but the planes have been doing really well for us. I usually do pretty well with the die-cast cars and stuff, but yeah, when I get like planes, helicopters, tanks, submarines, just the stuff that you don't see as often, people love them as well. $6.50. Like I said, not crazy, but I got like 100 of these different planes. Some of them sold up to $18 or something. I sold one last week for like a good amount. Moving along, we have a generic thing of 32. These are board game wooden circle player pieces or action markers. I don't know what board game. And then also have these black wooden dice. This is how they came with for me. I just listed it as such. Someone appreciated it. $7 for that. They might know what board game it goes to, or they're gonna make their own board game, or they just like the extra bits and pieces for whatever stuff they've been missing. All right, moving along, we have a lot of 4 of like Cannon Infantry Crew plastic miniatures. I've never seen these on a sprue like before. It's probably hard for you guys to see, but it's in a circular formation. So there's like the middle part, I think, that you cut off, and then all of the miniatures and like the tank stuff, or sorry, the artillery stuff is on the edges, like the wheels. I normally see sprues like the one I can't find right now. They're gonna be, where did I put it? Like on the actual, oh, here it is. On the actual like sheet right here. I don't see them as like these circular sprues, but sold for $16. They're decent quality. Someone's gonna appreciate them. I'm not sure, like, other than it's a Cannon Infantry Crew, like what brand, what scale, and what war or what game. Moving along, we have this Fireman Sam Uno sets. I like to pick up a bunch of different Uno sets. I know a lot of people like playing Uno. This is like Uno's like another super popular one next to Monopoly. There's some families and people just play Uno only. Like that's it. Uno is their thing. And sometimes look at these extra cartoon ones to get their kid into liking it more because it has their cartoon. I don't know this particular cartoon. Some of the kid stuff I know people like Bluey. That's the only one I can think of right now. But yeah, this ended up going for $13. But yeah, I know people like to play family card games, and that's the game for some families. Moving along, we got this police car. This is Dub City Bomb Squad unit. Pretty good quality. There was a little mirror that broke off, or that was like in there when I listed it. I put it off to the side and I said like needs a quick repair. I didn't really want to do the repair myself. I was just gonna have someone do it because I got a bunch of these cars, and this is like the bottom of it. It's a pretty good solid like metal one. This ended up going for $13. Moving along, probably could have gotten more if I did the fix myself. I just really didn't want to. We have a lot of 4 of these. I haven't sold these in a long time. I got a bunch of these. These are going to be Dungeons and Dragons. Are they like 4th edition or 3.5 edition? Let me see if I can see. It's from 2008. I want to say 3rd edition or 3.5, but I'm not too sure. These were like some kind of promotional like handout cards with different stats, characters, classes. I'm not too sure like what event you had to go to get these, but I got a bunch of these. I kind of separated them, I think, either by year or maybe like type. It's been a long, I listed these like 3 or 4 years ago, so I'll slowly sell packets of them. Like I said, I got like 200-300 of these cards. Right here is a lot of 4 of them for $10.11. They take up like this much space in a single box, so I completely forgot about them until that sold. I am asking a little bit more for them because I think promotional materials are kind of cool side products for these brands. They're harder to find, and I know that I'm aware of that fact, so I don't want to go too cheap on them. Moving along, we have 3 irregular miniatures, which is a 2mm miniature range. I think it's a company from the UK. It's going to be in the horse and musket range. Someone helped me label all of these like a month or 2 ago. This set of 3 sold for $45. These are like really, really, really tiny. I think it's pretty cool. Someone who bought some stuff from us, I wanted to see some painted because Annetta said there's no way someone can paint them, and they sent a picture of them painted. So Annetta got to see that. I'm like, no, people can do that. They're pretty skilled with that kind of stuff. Moving along, we have 100 Deadlands Doomtown cards. Collectible card game. They have all these poker suits up top. It's like this Wild West game. There's Doomtown Reloaded. There's Deadlands. There's going to be an RPG. I think there might even be miniatures. But yeah, this is the collectible card game. So like you get booster packs and there'd be rarities. This I think is just commons and uncommons. Actually, I don't know if I went through seeing which ones were rares or not. I don't know what I don't see in my listing if I put like commons or uncommons. So I just put like a lot of them. So $15.99 for that. People like that card game. There's still groups that like meet up. I ended up going to a convention talking to someone about Deadlands, and they said that there's still people playing it. Next up is going to be this ceramic that got like re-glued just its head. I don't think we did the re-gluing. It's going to be Lady-O girl with rooster. So yeah, just like this like girl right here, and then she has a little rooster in her arms. It's a ceramic. Like they're okay. It's not my favorite thing to list these days. I don't know anything about this one. Maybe Aneta picked it out at some point. I don't remember listing this one, but we list kind of like everything that we can, from Beanie Babies to miniatures to books to whatever this is. So yeah, end up going for $12.50. Someone will put that probably on their like dresser or desk and appreciate it. That's all that matters to me. All right, moving along, we have a lot of 11 Star Wars miniature cards. These are going to be from a set, Imperial Entanglements. So there was the D&D miniatures collectible game with cards. There's a Star Wars game. I get the cards, I get the miniatures. Sometimes I get them together. Sometimes people will have the miniatures, they lose the cards, so they buy more of them. They'll have all the stats for the little characters in the game. This ended up going for $10. I think you do play on 1-inch gridded maps for the Star Wars game. They'll have like big ones and then little small characters and stuff. So they have a lot of sets of this stuff. It's pretty good. I would say it's one of the better Star Wars thing that I've sold is that the miniatures game. I think that's where I've gotten more money for stuff. Moving along, we have this model kit, MPC Roland C11. This like plane right here. There was also some like extra baggy in here. So yeah, this person ended up going for $12. Had a question at one point asking if this is like one lot or two. I'm like, well, it's one, but then there was like some other random pieces that were just with the kit as I got it, so I just kept it together. So $12 for that. People love building up the little model miniature kits and stuff. I forgot to grab it in the other room, but it is in the other room. It is a Lord of the Rings trading card game rare card. It's called Garrison of Gondor. Sold it for $15.99. I got it when I went to a card show with my brother. I sold a lot of cards for 20 and then an individual list of the rares. I spent $20 for everything. So even after fees of this $15.99 card, of the two things I sold, I'm already in the profit. So everything else is going to be gravy. I feel sad I forgot to grab it to show you guys, but it's just like an individual card. Last thing, it's been a crazy one. We have Warhammer 40K Eldar Fire Prism Grav Tank right here. This is just the box, empty box for storage. I took a super low offer on this one. Someone might use this as a display piece, or they just want to, put their miniature in it. There's all sorts of reasons why people pick up empty boxes. This one I remember had a like weird piece of paper, not a weird piece of paper, just a piece of paper, and it was like taped around. And I had bought one of those like guns where you plug in heat guns. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it on this. And I actually did try it on this. This was the first thing that I tried to get rid of like stickers and stuff. She saw that at some point when we started eBay a long time ago, and she got one really cheap when she saw it cheap on clearance. And it did work. It was like one of the few times where that like gun worked and got to be able to remove it. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to list it. I almost threw it out because it had a piece of paper on it. So $12 for that. I did have it listed for more, but at this point I was like, like I said, I was being a little bit more charitable with the offers. I'll let that one go. It also frees up space for me listing. All right, that's everything. I am maybe going to try a different type of video for the weekend. I might actually do all of my what sold videos into one video, maybe a little bit more editing, and see if people like that. I want to try stuff. I'm not saying I'm not getting rid of the daily what sold videos. I just want to try something different. I'm still going to do the dailies, but then maybe on the weekend you might already see what I'm going to post, but I'm going to try to, like I said, maybe a little bit more edits, a little bit more images and stuff like that, and do it all together and see if someone wants to listen to me ramble for like, it'll probably be like 2 hours for like what sold for the whole week. All right. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to help support us. Take a look at our shop down below.